Right? Oh, sure. Mm. Okay. Good evening, all. We'll start with the lecture. Now we are into the sixth unit of our syllabus, which is named as specialized ICs. Remember, we are learning about operational amplifiers. So, whatever the specialized ICs are, these ICs involve operational amplifier. I request all the participants to mute themselves from their end. I muted you, but in case you haven't muted you all from your end, it will be a disturbance for the others who are listening. Thank you. Okay, so the first IC which is mentioned in our syllabus is IC 555 timer IC. Now, first of all, we'll understand what exactly this IC is and for what purpose we are going to use this IC. Now, this IC is basically used to generate a square wave, which can be a symmetrical square wave or asymmetrical square wave. Remember, symmetrical square wave signifies that the duty cycle is 50%. That means the T on time and T off time are same. So that is what you mean by symmetrical square wave. And asymmetrical, that means you can vary the duty cycle and adjust according to your application. So as far as this IC 555 timer is concerned, this IC is basically used for generating square wave, which can be symmetrical or asymmetrical, or a sawtooth wave. It can also be used to generate such kind of waves. And in most of the applications, it can be used as a stable multivibrator, monostable multivibrator. Now we'll see what is this stable multivibrator and monostable multivibrator in the subsequent part of the lecture. First, we'll understand what exactly this IC is. So it is basically a 8-pin DIP package which is available in IC package. DIP is dual inline package. in both the side of the IC we have 4 pins. That is what is called as dual inline package. So you can see the pinout. Number one is ground, second one is trigger input, third we are taking the output, four is to reset the IC, 8 is VCC, 7 is discharge. So we'll see in the block diagram what exactly it is. Sixth is threshold, and pin number 5 is control input. So this is the pinout for IC 555 timer IC. Now we'll see what is the block diagram of 555 IC. Is this? Uh, I'll tell you how to read this particular block diagram. First of all, just understand there are just two comparators and one SR flip-flop and one transistor. Only these three central components are there. Along with that, you can see there are three resistors which are connected. They are actually in series. We'll see how they are in series. But you can see all these 5 resistors are 5K, 5K, 5K. And that is the reason why this particular IC is called as 555 timer IC. Excuse me, there are some network fluctuations here, so it is getting disconnected. Anyways, we'll continue. There are three 5K resistors which are there in the IC, and that is the reason why it is called as 555 timer IC. See, there is one advanced IC also which is available, which is IC 556, which is the advanced version of this IC 555 timer. But it doesn't mean that it has 5K, 5K, and 6K as a register. It is just that and in triple and 556 in 556 IC we have two IC 555s connected in series. So this is actually the block diagram. You can see there are two comparators, comparator 1 and comparator 2. As we all know, as these comparators are uh, actually used in open loop configuration, the output of this can be plus VSAT or minus VSAT. The outputs of this comparator are given to SR flip-flop. The output of comparator 1 is given to the set pin of the SR flip-flop, and output of comparator 2 is given to the reset pin of SR flip-flop. Now I hope in digital electronics we have learned about SR flip-flop. It's just that we are using this SR flip-flop in this particular timer IC. Now what are the inputs to the comparator? If you see comparator 1, we have a control input which is applied to the inverting terminal of comparator 1, which is pin number 5, and the other input to it is a threshold input. Comparator 1 inputs are threshold and control. The threshold input is given as an external input, while the control input is derived from the supply, which is VCC. We can see how it is 2 by 3rd VCC in the subsequent part of the lecture. And similarly, for the comparator 2, there are two inputs. One can be given externally as a trigger input. You can see pin number 2 of this particular IC is referred as trigger. So the out, so the trigger voltage which can be applied externally, and the other input to the comparator 2 is derived from the supply which is given. Okay. Q bar is actually the output of the IC, and Q output of the SR flip flop is connected to a transistor which is named as a discharge. Now we'll see in the application of this IC 555 how this discharge or transistor is being taken care of. So as I've told you, due to the three 5K resistors connected, this IC is known as 555. I have given a fair amount of literature of this particular IC 555. You can read it. Let us consider output of comparator VO1 and output of comparator 2 is VO2. Now, as they are in comparator mode, their outputs are always in terms of either plus VSAT or minus VSAT. Now you can see in the diagram, as we are using it, these comparators in open loop configuration, we always know that the input impedance of the op-amp is very high. So the current that is flowing inside the op-amp is always zero. So you can see if there is this current I which is coming from the supply, then the same current I will flow in the resistor which is uh, mid register, which is 5 kilo ohm resistor between the two comparators, and the same I will flow to the resistors which is, register which is at the lower part, or where it is below the comparator 2. So you can see all these three resistors are connected in series because same current flows through these three resistors. Now the current that flows through all the resistors, that is, it is same, so they are connected in series. The transistor which is connected to pin number 7 is basically used in either a saturation or a cutoff region. That means it works as a switch. So either it will be in a saturation region, that is either it will be a short circuit, or it is in a cutoff region, or in other words, it can be in open circuit mode. So the transistor which is connected at pin number 7 is used for this purpose. Now we'll see in the application, that is a stable multivibrator, how it is used. Now we'll analyze this block diagram first. Now consider comparator 1. You can see the inputs to this. You can see input to comparator 1. The inputs are a threshold voltage which is applied to the non-inverting terminal, while the other input to comparator which is applied to the inverting terminal is a control input which is VC. Now from the diagram you can calculate the voltage which is a control voltage. You can see in this diagram we can easily calculate the voltage which is you can see at pin number 5 you can just concentrate on comparator 1, where you can easily find out the voltage at this particular point which is at pin number 5, which can be given as R plus R. So we have already seen that these two resistors are in series. So R plus R divided by the total resistance which is R plus R plus R into VCC will be the voltage at this particular point, which is applied to the inverting terminal of comparator 1. Okay, so what is the voltage at that particular terminal, which is control input, is VC is 2/3 VCC. This we have just calculated. Now VTH is the threshold voltage which we can apply externally, which is in our hand, which is in user's hand, how much VTH we can apply. So hence two conditions exist in this particular case, whether applied VTH is greater than the control voltage or it is less than the control voltage. Now we know what is the voltage, control voltage. So if VTH is greater than that particular 2/3 VCC, then you can see VTH is the control voltage. VTH is the voltage, excuse me, VTH is the voltage applied to the non-inverting terminal. So whenever VTH is greater than the control voltage, that means the difference between the two voltages is positive, and hence the output voltage or VO1 will be plus VSAT. And similarly, if VTH is less than 2/3 VCC, remember 2/3 VCC is the voltage, control voltage that we have calculated. So VO1 would be minus VSAT. So this output of comparator 1 is applied to the set terminal of the flip-flop. Remember, if you see the diagram, it is applied to the set terminal. Now, as the flip-flop being a digital, device, it only knows zeros and ones. That you all know. You have learned it in digital electronics. So whenever we have plus VSAT output, then we'll consider that as a high or 1. And whenever we have minus VSAT, then we'll consider that as a low output or it is 0. Okay, so whenever we have plus VSAT, that means when VTH is greater than 2/3 VCC, then the output would be 1. And whenever VTH is less than 2/3 VCC, then the output would be 0. So this is the logic that we are going to use in case of SR flip-flop. Okay, now consider comparator 2. In that, now we need to calculate the voltage which is V2 plus. Now this is just the nomenclature that I have given. We are using comparator 2, that is why I have given it as V2. And as it is applied to the non-inverting terminal, it is V2 plus. That is the thing. There is nothing, uh, there is no logic. This is just the thing for as far as nomenclature is concerned. So V2 plus is the voltage which is applied to the non-inverting terminal of comparator 2. Now how to calculate that? If you see the block diagram, you can easily find out that the V2 plus can be calculated with the help of voltage divider rule. So it is R upon R plus R plus R into VCC. Remember, we have taken all these resistors. So we have taken all these resistors as same, and hence we are getting these such kind of voltages at the uh, terminals. So V2 plus will be equal to VCC by 3 or one third of VCC. Now V trigger is the voltage that can be applied externally that I have told you. So again, two conditions exist. One is whether V trigger is greater than V2 plus, then in that case, VO2, that is the output, will be minus V set. Remember, V trigger is the input which is applied to the inverting terminal of comparator. So whenever it is greater than the V2 plus, then the output would be minus V sat, because the difference would be a negative quantity, and hence the output would be negative saturation voltage. Similarly, when V trigger is less than one third of VCC, then VO2 will be plus V sat. Again, the same thing. If the output is plus V sat, then we are going to consider it as a high input, and when it is low, when it is minus V sat, then we are going to consider it as low. Remember, this particular logic is because SR flip-flop is a digital unit or digital circuit, so it only knows the language of zeros and ones, and that is the reason why we have converted these voltages, which are analog voltages, into. So remember, we are using SR flip-flop, which is a digital unit, and hence we have converted these analog voltages, which are plus VSAT and minus VSAT, into a digital logic of low and high. Okay, now you know from digital electronics what is the truth table of SR flip-flop. We are only concerned with 0, 1 and 1, 0, but this is, this is the truth table of SR flip-flop, where Qn plus 1 is the next stage and Q bar n plus 1 is the next stage of Q bar. Remember, the output of our 555 timer IC is at Q bar. So we are only concerned with the inputs S and R, where set is 0, R is 1, or when set is 1, R is 0. 0, 0 and 1, 1 conditions where. Remember, we are going to use 0, 1 and 1, 0, only these two conditions, because in this particular case only we are interested. We are not interested in 0, 0 and 1, 1, because these are not required as far as our circuit is concerned. So when for S is equal to 0 and R is equal to 1, you can see flip-flop is in reset mode. So whenever it is in reset mode, Q will be equal to 0, which signifies that transistor is in cutoff mode. So when Q is 0, then it will be an open circuit, and for the other inputs, that is S is 1 and R is 0, then whenever flip-flop is in set mode, then we know Q is equal to 1, which uh, signifies that transistor will be in saturation mode, that is short circuit. Now this is about the basics of IC 555 timer. Now we are going to see how this particular IC 555 timer can be used in applications, or how it can be used as a stable multivibrator or monostable multivibrator. Remember, 555 timer IC is used to generate square waves of asymmetrical and symmetrical types, as well as it can be used to generate sawtooth waveforms. But here in this case, we are considering 555 timer as a stable multivibrator. Now, if you see the circuit diagram of 555 timer as a stable multivibrator, you can see the only difference in the basic 555 IC circuit diagram, and this is this pin number 7 is connected to a point between the external resistors RA and RB, and these external resistors are connected to pin number 8, which is plus VCC, and a capacitor is also connected in the circuit, which is an external circuit. Yes, Sakshi? Okay, so the only difference between the basic 555 timer IC and when it is used as an stable multivibrator, the only difference is this pin number 7, you can see it is connected to a point between external resistors RA and RB, and I request all the participants who are present, please write P from their chat windows so that I could mark your attendance. And remember, whenever this particular 555 timer IC is used as an stable multivibrator, the threshold input of comparator 1 and the trigger input of comparator 2 are connected together. Whenever such configuration is there, then you always be sure that it is used as an stable multivibrator. I repeat, in case of stable multivibrator, the threshold input and the trigger input both are connected together, and it is actually connected across the capacitor. So the whatever is the voltage across the capacitor, that voltage will appear as an input as a threshold voltage to a comparator 1 and a trigger voltage to comparator 2. So what is the, how can we identify it is a stable multivibrator? How can we identify it is an stable multivibrator? The threshold input and the trigger input, they are connected together across the capacitor. That is the crux as far as a stable multivibrator is concerned. Now, there may be a question that what is a stable multivibrator? See, a stable multivibrator means whenever we are generating a square wave at the output, both the states, either it is a low or high or 0 or 1, both the states are not stable. That means they are called as quasi-stable state, or you can say temporary stable states. So that is the reason why this particular circuit is called as a stable multivibrator, because stable means both the states are not stable, they are quasi-stable. That means what is quasi-stable? Quasi-stable is temporarily stable. They are not stable for a longer time. They are stable for a very short time, or temporary they are stable, and that is the reason why this particular circuit is called as a stable multivibrator. Now we'll analyze the circuit. Assume that we know we have connected a capacitor here, external capacitor. So suppose the initial voltage across the capacitor is 0. Now I've told you that V trigger and V threshold is same as the voltage across the capacitor. Now consider comparator 2. You can see we have already derived what is the voltage at this particular point, which is at the non-inverting terminal of comparator 2, that is this below comparator. So we know what is the voltage at this particular point. It is VCC by 3. Now as we have said that initially VC, which is the voltage across the capacitor, is 0, and voltage at this particular non-inverting terminal of comparator 2 is VCC by 3, which is greater than 0. So that means the output of this comparator would be plus Vsat, because VCC by 3 is always greater than V trigger, which is 0 initially, and hence the output voltage would be plus Vsat. Now when VO2 is plus Vsat, we have learned that we are considering this as a high logic, or VO2 would be 1. Now when VO2 would be 1, if you see the circuit diagram, it is connected to the reset pin of the flip-flop, and which signifies that the flip-flop would be reset. And when the flip-flop is reset, then we have Q is 0 while Q bar is 1. And remember this we are considering at t is equal to 0. Initially, the voltage across the capacitor is 0. That is what we are considering. So at t is equal to 0, this is happening. Because we already know VCC by 3 is a DC voltage which will be there at this particular terminal, which is at the non-inverting terminal of comparator 2. And Vc, or voltage across the capacitor, from this particular equation, V trigger equal to V threshold equal to Vc of t. At t is equal to 0, we are assuming the voltage across the capacitor is 0. And hence, we have this condition at t is equal to 0, which is the our SR flip-flop would be in reset mode and Q bar is equal to 1. Now, as we all know that the Q output of the SR flip-flop is connected to the transistor. So when it is 0, then the transistor would be in cutoff condition. So if you see in the diagram, if capacitor is this capacitor is in cutoff condition, then we have this particular part which is disconnected from so this particular line won't be there in the circuit because this particular transistor is in cutoff condition. So you can see the capacitor can get charged through this particular RARB, this particular path, because this particular path won't be there because this particular transistor is in cutoff condition. And this is initially because we have considered the voltage across the capacitor is 0, and hence when this condition arises, this particular path won't be there because of the cutoff condition.